Hi guys, hi, how's it going? How you doing today? Hopefully today finds you well. Today I am doing my 2024 plan to pan. These are the items that I have chosen to go straight into my panning potential for the year for my project 10 pan or my rolling project pan, in which I have a mindset to empty product. So I typically do 2 to 3 projects every single year. Last year I did 2 projects. This year I am anticipating potentially 3, maybe this project pan, the deck of panning, and then maybe a turn and burn as part of the Fantastic Ladies. I think they've already started though, so I might be trailing behind them to some extent, but these products in my planned pan are typically about completionists, right? I want to see the light at the end of the tunnel. By the end of the year, I want all these products potentially out of my collection or almost out of my collection. With that said, I have 33 items that I have on this list. Every year, the amount of products that I'm able to complete in my completionist project pan has grown. And this year, I guess I should say, I was able to complete 37 products through that completionist project pan, and that is 37 total empties through that project pan. I had a goal of 50 products through project pan. I didn't quite make it, but I think if I have 33 on the list, I know which ones are going to be easy, which ones are going to be, take a little bit longer. So I can strategically manipulate which products I'm pulling into which project pan at which time to roll right through all of them as quickly as possible. And hopefully in this year, 2024, well, this coming year, 2024, with 50 out of this project pan. We will see. I have lofty goals always. With that said, I hope that you guys are interested in this video. And if you are, please keep on watching. For those of you new here, hi, my name is Donna. I'm a lover of all things high-end, colorful beauty and self-care. I also work in the beauty industry as a field leader for Ulta Beauty, so I get a lot of education in my position. I like to bring you that education here. But ultimately, I'm just out here talking about makeup because I like to talk about makeup. And I'm assuming if you're here, you probably also do as well. So I'm hoping that you'll stick around, hit that subscribe button. There's a ton of videos on my platform for y'all to dive into and find solace in your soul with. So with that said, let's just roll into this planned pan for 2024 because I have a lot of products on this list to talk about. I'm still struggling with the focus on my camera. I do think that might be why I switched my lenses. This one just takes such a better overall, but the other one focuses better because it's up close or closer than this one can be, so to speak. So there's that. It's also hair washing day, so my hair is kind of crazy sauce right now. All right, so let's jump into this. I do have 33 items on this list. For one reason or another, there's a ton of different things on here that I think will give me kind of a variety so I don't feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again. But as I'm looking at this, like when I think through the lens of like my project pan last year, I have notes, friends. Oh, well, in my project pan last year, I was able to complete 3 lip liners and I have 4 in the mix this year. I was only able to complete 2 eyeliners and I also have 4 of those, I do believe. So we'll see. There might be, some heavy hitters that we're going to be able to blow through rather quickly, but there's probably also going to be some not so heavy hitters that are going to take us a long time to do. So I'm going to start with just how I have it written down. I just went through like all of my products and really wrote down some things. Towards the end, it was like, okay, well, I think this could fit in there too, and I think this could fit in there too. The one and only powder that I have in here is the Dior Powder No Powder. This is an item that was in my project pan for 2023. It is an item I was almost able to complete, but not quite. It does have a large amount of pan on it, and I do think that I should be able to finish this product in 2024 because it is something that I use over a large area of my face because I've been using it as a bronzer. Something happened sometime between buying this product and utilizing it all over my face until this point, and it no longer is a powder that I can wear all over my face. It kind of oxidizes and turns everything orange, and it itself has oxidized, I do believe, and turned orange, which might be part of the reason why Dior is, you know, reformulating this powder. Who knows? But this will be probably one of the first things that I roll in this year, because I know it's going to take a minute to get through. The next thing I'm going to talk about is this, because it'll kind of lean into the same mindset. I am using that as a bronzer. I also am pulling in this. This is a Bare Minerals bronzer in Warmth. This is their pressed version. It's just a little like travel size or a mini, and this is going to take a long time. Bare Minerals products are really firmly pressed, so I do think that it will be probably an all year tracking kind of situation with this guy. Along those same lines, but for a completely different purpose, if you guys followed along with my Shop My Stash, you know that I had a Makeup by Mario sculpt stick that's component broke. So I put it in, it's a cream product. So I would say repress, but it wasn't like repressing. It was just making sure it got into two other components that it could live in, that weren't going to, you know, cause it to dry up or anything like that. So this is only one of the components that I did put it into, but it is in a Becca Anti-Fatigue Eye Balm component, but it is the Makeup by Mario sculpt stick. This is the one that I plan on hopefully panning to entirety this year. There will be one whole other one of these in my collection still when I'm left over with that. There's so much product in that sculpt stick that it didn't quite fit into one component. So this is actually the remnants of what didn't fit into the other component. So at least one of them will be out of my collection, and this is a contour, so it kind of sits in the same place as the bronzers do. And then I do have several lip products. I don't know, I mean, it's kind of all over the place here, but I do have several like lip glosses. There's one of them that I can't find. I do believe it is in my purse because it is my purse gloss, and that is the Makeup by Mario Glow Balm in Mauve Glow. It's one of my favorites right now. I have been taking it with me kind of everywhere I go, so it's just kind of disappeared at the moment, but I do know that I have it somewhere. It's either in my car, in my purse, down in my office area, in this crazy ass mess of a room right now. I'm just not sure where it is. I do have that on my list. I also have the Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Gloss. This is in the shade Velvet, and it is a really pretty like mauve colored lip gloss as well. And I do think that you could see there's quite a bit of usage out of this. This was my purse gloss a large period of time over the last year, so I do plan on finishing that. I also have the Fresh Coconut Lip Balm. This is a balm that I put on my lips every morning and every night just to keep my lips juicy and plump and, you know, feeling hydrated. There's quite a bit of pan. There's not a whole lot left of this. I do think I could have this gone by probably March time frame. I have two Pat McGrath lip glosses. You guys know I did have one. Actually, I had two in the Project Pan in 2023 as well. And those took me about 2.5 months to get through, except for one of them, which I ended up decluttering. I did open these up, give them this good old sniff test. They do smell perfectly okay. One of them is in Flesh 4. It is the darker one that is in Flesh 4. And the other one that's kind of like a glimmery coral shade is called Bronze Temptation. So I will have those on the agenda as well. Those are not necessarily my favorite lip gloss formula. They're kind of thick and they don't last super long. So I will probably put them in right away because I do reapply them quite frequently, and therefore I can get through those pretty quickly, I do think. And neither one of them has a ton of use on them, but they're also not brand new, so they have been used quite a bit. The next lip gloss I have is also just a little like travel size. The Pat McGrath Labs ones were also travel size. This is the Marc Jacobs Enamored Gloss, and this is in the shade French Tickler. It's just a really pretty, like peachy, creamy, milky gloss. Milky glosses are some of my favorite. They really do your lips favors in terms of making them look really juicy. I think you guys can see there's quite a bit of windowing there at the top of this, guys. So this has been used quite a bit in my collection. I don't anticipate it'll take very long to go through. I think I could get all three of those, so the two Pat McGrath and that Enamored one by Marc Jacobs, out of my collection probably by June if I just boom, boom, boom those three. And then I also have a lip oil, so I'm bringing in the Ciate London Watermelon Burst Lip Oil. This isn't my favorite lip oil. I do really love the Watermelon Burst like face primer, but I am not a fan, honestly, of this lip oil. In terms of being a lip oil, in terms of being a clear gloss, sure, it's just a little too thick and a little less hydrating than you would think that a lip oil is. But I'm really excited to use it, get it out of my collection. It's just a tiny squeeze tube. This isn't full size, I do not believe, but it is also not a small size squeezy tube. I think in terms of like the travel size of like the Charlotte Tilbury Pinkgasm, it's about the same size. Granted, they're used for two totally different purposes, but I do think that I could have this done really quickly. I have one lipstick, and it is the Bite Beauty lipstick in the shade Chai. This is just a mini. Bite Beauty hasn't been around in quite some time, so I do think that I am embarrassed that this is still in my collection, if I'm honest. And right now it is currently in my deck of panning for like a 5-time use or 10-time use, something like that. I've used it once in those 10 times or 5 times or whatever it is that it's supposed to be. And that also is embarrassing, but I can multitask lipsticks. I learned that really quickly last year when I rolled a red lipstick into my deck of panning and could not fathom myself using it 10 times on my lips. So I did use it quite a bit as a blush. I really like lipsticks as blushes, cream blushes. So it's gonna go bad quickly if it's not already, but I've used it on my lips. So I would say it's still healthy and kicking, and I need to get it used up in my collection. I would like to see as much use as possible out of it. That will be the first lipstick that I will have finished in my collection in the entire time that I've been on YouTube, so that's exciting. There are quite a few lip liners rolling into this, but I was able to finish 3 lip liners in entirety in my completion project pan in 2023. So a lot of these have had a lot of use, so I don't think it's going to be as hard as I think it's going to be, but there are several different colors here. I do have Dolly Danger by Buxom. This is like half of its original size. It's a lip liner that at one point in time did see a whole lot of action in my collection. It is a lip liner that now you can't hardly read any of the writing on it because it's so old in my collection. I do find that I'm able to barrel through these rather quickly. So, and I've completed one of these before in the past, so I'm not scared. Then I have the Clinique Quick Liner for Lips Intense in Intense Cosmo. I know that this has got very little product inside of this component, so I'm quite certain that I could probably have this out of my collection in a good 2 months if I stick to using it. I think that I could have this gone rather quickly. I would say that I could have gone well before the Buxom one. Then I also have the Lip Contour in Trophy Wife. This is by Huda. This one I think is really close to the Clinique Intense Cosmo. I think that this stick is, I would say that I've used about a quarter of this lip liner in its day, but it's one that I kind of just set aside and don't use anymore. And it was one of my favorite kinds of lip liners in the past. I would say Intense Cosmo is a little more berry and Trophy Wife is a little deeper on the like brown side of things. And then we have the Zoeva Graphic Lips Earthbound Lip Liner, and this one is kind of baby pink. Wow, the sun is really coming in the window right now. This is the shade of it. It is just a really pretty like rosewood shade in my humble opinion. I really do like it so much, but it's been so long since I've used it, so I think that they look similar. But if I'm 100% honest, this is my color story. This is the color story that I pull for all the time. So I don't think it will be hard to use those lip liners, but I do have 4 of them in here. I am also bringing back in to play the Fenty Kilowatt highlighter. You guys know that I deemed this an empty at the end of Project Pan 2023 because I was able to empty the one side of the component, and that was what I was going for in 2023. But in the coming year, I will be emptying the other side, and throughout it being in my project pan in 2023, I did make a whole lot of progress on the other side as well. This is repressed into one side, and it's whatever was remaining of both of the highlights, and it's barely covering the bottom. It is a very thin layer of highlight in there, so I do think that it won't take long for this to completely be finished up as well, and that will be so satisfying. I am also bringing in some blushes, and I know that I kind of told myself after the Pretty Vulgar one had been in my project pan for years that I wasn't going to do a blush in project pan again, but here I am with 3 of them that I'm bringing in. This is an Ofra Gaudette that I got in BoxyCharm so long ago, called Winter Rose. I do think it is a beautiful shade of blush, but this blush has been in my collection for far too long. That is it right there. And it is just so pretty. So in that, it also sits in a magnetic palette with some other blushes. So I do think that it'll remind me to use some of those other blushes as well. Hopefully that's better. It looks better. I'm hoping that bringing that in will also remind me that there's other blushes available. So I will bring the whole palette in, because I'm not just going to bring a single pan into this. I don't have anywhere to put a single pan, and I don't want it to get destroyed, but there's also 3 other blushes in there, so I'll have like my options, right? That one's been in a project pan before. It's been used so much in my collection, and it barely looks used. So I do know that that one's going to take a long time to accomplish. So I think that rolling in like 2 liquid blushes is also going to do something to help me out throughout the process. I have Benefit Flora Tint, which is a lip and cheek stain, and then I have the Charlotte Tilbury Pink Gasm. So this isn't actually my favorite blush. I don't love that it is honestly more of a glowy blush. I've learned a lot about myself. Glowy blushes is just not something that I love. I love my glow to come from my highlight. So I do see myself struggling with this, but it is a mini. It is a little tiny guy, so I don't think it'll be as much of a struggle as it could be. And then this one I actually fell in love with when it was in my Shop My Stash, so I don't think that this one will be hard to get through at all. I have 2 primers that I'm bringing in as far as face primers go. So I have the Dr. Brandt illuminating primer that is and has been one of my favorites in the past. And there's only like a gram or an ounce, 1 fluid ounce of product in here. I do not think this will take me very long to get through. And this one is actually almost done. So if it makes it through the remainder of this year, which I don't know if it will or no, it will be the first primer that I put in, because I just don't think it'll last very long. It's literally like right here above this hourglass marker here. So if it lasts through the rest of this month, then it will go into my project pan first thing. This one will take a lot longer than that one will. Both of them are beautiful primers. I love them both so dang much, so I don't think I'll have a problem using either one of those. And for an eye primer, I am rolling in this guy, which actually is rather new to my collection, but it is a product I regret purchasing this year. I really don't love it. I think about it on a whim because I want to say that I had heard that this works really well as a glitter primer. And I have to be honest with you guys, I don't find it. Maybe I picked up the wrong one. Maybe Milk Makeup has 2. I'm not sure. I don't find it to... It works well as a primer in that it keeps my eyeshadow from creasing or fading or moving around on my eyes, which I don't really ever have a whole lot of problems with creasing or fading. Like eyeshadow just doesn't go anywhere truly on my eyes anyways, but it's not great as I really expected it to be a lot more gripping than it is in terms of being able to utilize it as a glitter primer, and that's just not the case. So I have other eye primers I love so much, but this is new and it's going into my project pan. So if that doesn't tell you how I feel about it, I don't know what will.
Wow, I'm like really blue now. Listen, the sun is really messing with my lighting right now.
I had 4 eyeliners in 2023 project pan. I was able to complete 2, so I doubled up. I have 4. So these 2 are by Cargo Cosmetics. I don't even know if Cargo Cosmetics is a thing anymore. Even if they are, these are 2 of the oldest eyeliners that I have in my collection, so it's about time we utilize them and get them out. I have the Cargo eyeliner in the shade Loch Ness, which is the blue one. It's kind of a really pretty navy blue. And then also in Karen Beach, which is the purple one. And I use them both frequently as is. I don't think it'll be hard to use them up, but they are relatively still almost full size. And that's scary to me. I just want them, if nothing else, I want them to a point where I maybe can get rid of them at the end of the year without feeling some sort of way about them. And this is the LA Girl Shockwave eyeliner in black. It's just a black eyeliner. Won't take me super long to utilize that one. And this one is currently in my deck of panning. It's the Jante Blue eyeliner in dark brown. So I had to bring a black and a brown in because they're like staple eyeliners, right? And I don't think it'll be hard to use those up. So those are also in for products that I plan to pan. I also have a few shadow sticks. I 100% believe I'm setting myself up for failure this year, and I'm sorry that the lighting keeps going all wonky in here. I currently look blue all over again. 2 of the shadow sticks that I have are by LOC Beauty. These are shadow sticks that I received in Ipsy way long ago. They're shimmery, they work well for brow bones, inner corners, and that's why I'm pulling them in. I do think that these could be just my standard brow bone and inner corner shadows. So Champagne Problems is the kind of like taupey colored one, and Heavy Metal is the lighter beige one. Really great shadow sticks. They have really nice color to them, and they're tiny. They're like travel size or minis. The other one I'm bringing in is also a mini. It's a Bobbi Brown long-lasting shadow stick, and this one is in the shade Vanilla, so it's a matte, and this could be also used as an eye primer when I get tired of using this one as an eye primer. I went through an entire one of these in 2023 utilizing it as an eye primer, and it's really good. They're really great as an eye primer, so I'm not scared of that. The last few items I have on my list here are all complexion. Really proud of myself in 2023's project pan, my completion project pan for 2023. I was able to finish 4 foundations. Granted, 2 of them were little tiny guys that only lasted about a month. There was only 13, 14, maybe 15 uses in each one of them. Not quite mini, but not quite sample. They were kind of somewhere in between. I would call them travel size. But 2 of them were full-fledged foundations that I had had in my collection for a while. One of them I hadn't used very much at all when I put it in, and one of them I had used quite a bit actually when I put it in. So I have 3 foundations and a color corrector that I'm planning on putting into Project Pan 2024. The color corrector is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Color Correcting Fluid, and this is in the shade Peach. It is full. I opened it up for my Shop My Stash in November. It's the first time I've used it, and it smells fine. It works fine, but it is old. Urban Decay has not used made these in quite some time. I purchased this as a backup to the one that I was using when Urban Decay decided to discontinue this product. So you know it's dang old, but I just opened it. So even if it is years and years old, I just opened it up. And that to me says, go ahead and use it. So I'm going to go ahead and use it. I'm going to keep it in my Shop My Stash through the end of the Shop My Stash, and then I'm going to roll it into my project pan. And then I have 3 foundations. And one thing that you'll note about these foundations is they're all very light coverage foundations. I am 47 years old. I don't really struggle with large pores, fine lines, and wrinkles. Sure, but not really wrinkles. Maybe some fine lines, and I do have 11s like right here. I also don't suffer from acneic skin. I have pretty decent skin, I would say, for my age, but you know, we at my age really started leaning into like skincare and stuff like that at a very early age, which is something our parents maybe didn't do. So I have really great skin is what I'm trying to say. And that's not like, I mean, hooray, yes, for me. I'm not trying to be boastful about it. I'm just saying I have really great skin. I do not like a full coverage foundation. Most days I'm not wearing foundation at all. If I am wearing foundation, it's typically a really light coverage foundation. So I'm bringing in 3 light coverage foundations. So the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue is a tinted hydrating gel cream. It's got SPF of 30. This is one of my favorite summer foundations, to be honest, because I just find that it goes on the skin super well. It looks really good on my skin, and it's got that extra baseline of protection to it with the SPF 30. That is a quite, large number SPF for it. There is an air bubble in here, but I have owned this. It's been in my collection for quite some time. I would say probably roughly around 2 years. Still fine. I used it just not that long ago, actually. This is in the shade Natural 05, and it's kind of a perfect foundation for me in the summer months. I also like that it is, it's got a lot of kind to the skin ingredients, like skincare ingredients to it. And during my driest season, summer, as far as my, pretty dry skin goes, it keeps me from getting flaky. So I will probably likely bring that in during the summertime. I also have this one, which is the Hourglass Illusion Hyaluronic Skin Tint. This also has a sunscreen in it, but it's SPF 15. I really do like this and did use it quite a bit, but it's also a product that I feel like it's kind of silly for me to use. I could use it as a primer. I could use it as a no makeup product, but it really doesn't have a whole lot of coverage to it, in my humble opinion. So this is going to be perfect for those days I really just don't want to wear foundation. That is what I will be pulling it in for. And these are the 3 foundations that I will really focus on throughout the year. And I almost shook this, but I'm glad I didn't, but at the same time, I think it got shaken up anyways. This is the Dior Backstage Face and Body in the shade 3N, which is why my powder is also in 3N, because I thought that was the shade I needed. This actually is about half full. When I had it sitting on here, it was settled. I shook it up when I started talking about it, which was silly of me, but it's only about half full. This is a product that I use to put into some of my, more pale or maybe more thick products, because I don't like a thick foundation on my face. It might be a product that I partner with the Complexion Rescue, because the Complexion Rescue does have kind of like a gel consistency that weirds me out sometimes, but I know it's beautiful at the end of the day. This is my favorite skin tint of life. It just looks so good and natural and like my own skin on my face. So I just need to get it used up, because it is rather old. I would repurchase this and will continue to repurchase this as long as it exists in the world because I love it. It's just so good. It just looks like absolutely nothing is on your face, but perfects. So those are the 33 items that I have to roll in to my project pan next year. Whether it be deck of panning or project pan, no matter what project these go into, at the end of the day, I'm hoping all 33 of these products are used up in my collection by the end of 2024. They are on my planned pan for next year. Do you have products lined up for your project pans next year? I didn't start doing this until last year, and last year I felt so successful and I felt a little less stressed out when I had to pull new products into my project pan because I already knew what products I was going to pull into my project pan. And I am here to tell you, I am so excited about the number of makeup empties that I had last year this year, just because I was prepared. I had a list of all the products that I wanted to use. I mean, I used up stuff I would have never thought I I would have never thought possible. 4 whole foundations. Yes, 2 of them were travel size, but still they counted as a product in my inventory. So 4 whole foundations. I used up 1 whole shadow stick. I used up 3 whole lip liners, 5 lip glosses. Like, I used so much stuff last year, and a lot of it was because I did this last year and just kept rolling those products in to whatever project pan for wherever they fit. So I'm really excited about it. What you will note is there is no palette this year. That is not going to happen again. So let me know if you guys have your list going for your project pan for 2024. I would be interested to hear your thoughts. And if you have a video out there, let me know. I will go watch it because I love project pans. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you and yours are well. I hope that you are all safe and healthy and getting along as best you can. And I hope that you are all loving each other, but loving each other from afar. And until next time. Bye, friends.